And stepping into the ring for our second bout of the night, the man they call Fast Eddie, Eddie Delic. His last fight, of course, late last year. And coming onto this fight on short notice, stepping up against the nasty boy, Nick Krekellis. And a very haunting musical score as nasty Nick Krekellis makes his way into centre ring. This man's been around kickboxing for a long time, folks, but he's only 24 years old and making a comeback to the ring after a 3-year absence. In that time, he's been overseas, in America and in Japan, and stepping up to the plate tonight to face Eddie Delic.
Well, Michael, Nick Krekellis, 24 years old, but he has been training for 10 years under the auspices of Paul Fifield. In 1995, he moved to East LA, where he worked out with Oscar De La Hoya at the East LA gym.
Already been over the instructions with you both in the dressing rooms. Obey commands at all time. Keep your guard up at all times. Have a good, clean fight. Good luck.
Well, Michael, I think we can expect to see a fairly close boxing bout here. Eddie Delic prides himself as being a bit of a handyman when it comes to the boxing department. Nick Krekellis, of course, working out with De La Hoya, the great Oscar De La Hoya. He's sure to be no slouch when it comes to the boxing now either.
Well, Mark, I'm excited about this one. So we're scheduled for 4x2. Speaking to Nick Krekellis out the back, he was psyched, he was pumped and ready to rock and roll back in the ring again. As we said, it's been a 3-year absence for nasty Nick, former Australian light welterweight champion, just being warned there for a late blow. It was a late left hook to the face of Delic.
Hitting on the break, but of course your opponent should always keep the hands up until you're well and truly out of range of your opponent, because there's always those punches that can come through as the referee steps into break.
Mark, Nick is psyched for this event. He's been training with some big names in Australia and overseas for the past 3 years, but how will ring rust affect him?
Well, it depends really, Michael, on how much sparring he's been doing, working out with Paul Fifield down there at the great Underworld gym. Of course, the Underworld is renowned for having some great fighters come from their doors, and I'm sure Nick's been working hard down there, but really only performance in the ring can tell. Sparring is good, but it can't replace the feel of the night and the adrenaline rush and all the rest of it. You have to keep it all in control and keep focused.
Delic, always smiling, a very unorthodox fighter in the way he moves. Took this fight on short notice, but moving very well in the first round.
Well, Eddie Delic, of course, works out there at Eastside Gym with Boyd Hooper. Boyd Hooper was a man that I did some work with earlier in my career, and he certainly pushes you to the limit. With a strong military background, Boyd Hooper certainly works you like a drill sergeant would. And Eddie Delic has certainly put in the rounds at the gym as well, and you can bet that he's here to fight.
The highlight of Nick Krekellis' career, perhaps back in 1995, where he defeated Anthony Evans from New South Wales by unanimous decision to claim the Australian light welterweight title. And on a comeback trail now. End of the first round of action, Mark. Nasty Nick back into it.
Well, Nasty Nick's back into it, just getting his footing right. Getting a little bit off balance there a couple of times, but that's to be expected. As we look at the stats sheet, or as I look at the stats sheet here, Eddie Delic landing more punches, but, and also landing a lot more low kicks. So he's had 6 clean punches landed in that round, as opposed to Nick Krekellis, who only had 2. The same thing goes for the low kicks, with Nick only landing 2 and Eddie landing 4. We have a look at the boys working here in the first round. Eddie just missing with that hook, and Nick, of course, tying up, and Eddie Delic just working the body rips there. There's that blow on the break. As I said, you've always got to keep your guard up.
Seconds out. Round 2.
The bell sounds for the second round of action. Eddie Delic coming out swinging with a leg kick. And nasty Nick Krekellis got a nasty look on his kisser indeed. He's taunting Delic, who comes forward, leading off with a right hand. Well, folks, I told you Krekellis was psyched. I told you he was pumped. And he's taunting Delic. He wants a knockout win in his comeback fight after 3 years away.
Well, Nick Krekellis putting it on for the crowd, but we shouldn't lose sight of the job at hand. And that job, of course, is Eddie Delic. Fast Eddie. Fast Eddie's got to keep his hands up. He keeps dropping his hands like that. He may be unlucky and get nailed. He's got a bit of a remnant there on his eye. On his eye, a bit of a black eye. As the fighters go outside the rope.
Well, a little bit of WWF over against the ropes. The crowd certainly enjoying it. Nasty Nick, a huge following here tonight. And something you don't see quite often at kickboxing shows, some fans with banners actually hanging around the auditorium for Nasty Nick.
Certainly a very popular identity around town. Very likeable. Oh, excellent front kick to the face there from Krekellis coming out while he was back onto the ropes. And that's where Eddie's got to keep his hands up.
Eddie just walked into that front kick. Krekellis just keeping that right hand cocked.
Krekellis still a little tentative.
His boxing skills, of course, would have had a good workout over the past few years with his work with Oscar De La Hoya. And he's been training with the big heavyweights over in Japan, the superstars like Bernardo, Peter Ertz and Branko Sikotic.
It's fine to work your boxing skills, Michael, but certainly those kicks cannot be underestimated, because you land a couple of good solid kicks to that thigh and it's going to slow down your movement. It's also going to slow down your hand speed, because your mind will be focused on the pain in your thigh from that corkage that can happen when a good shin kick is applied.
Krekellis letting fly with the big left hand. It's been Delic, though, that's been the busier in the boxing department in the second round of action.
Well, you said it earlier, how rusty will Krekellis be? And I think first up opponent back from a long spell, Eddie Delic is no slouch, and he's making Nick Krekellis' job a lot harder. Let's have a look at the, I'm having a look here at the stat sheets. Body rips, Eddie Delic 13. Now, 13 is a high score. How many of those are going to be effective is you can't know. You have to be the opponent to know how many of those hurt you, but certainly 13 as opposed to 4 clear punches landing from Krekellis. Delic certainly having the advantage.
Quite an array of celebrities ringside too, Mark. There's Stan the Man Longanides and his manager Nick Kenos. All part of the ringside action here at the Melbourne Town Hall.
We look forward to seeing Stan the Man back in action this year. Certainly one of the sport's best known identity in Australia today.
Krekellis and Eddie, ready, steady, Delic.
We're into the third round of action. Krekellis comes out bouncing. Going downstairs looking for the leg kicks. Delic does the same. Oh, he caught a nice round kick to the face there. Walked straight into it. One too many of those will make him wish he was someplace else. And Eddie Delic wants to remain mobile against Krekellis here tonight. Krekellis caught him that time with the left hook. Nick just dropping that lead left into the body. And Delic did well just to push him away with the front kick. And the referee calling that one a kick knockdown there, Mark.
Giving him a 3 count though.
Okay, stop. Get down, keep it up. Fight!
Well, this is certainly an intriguing bout, our second of the night.
Well, that kick knockdown is certainly going to help Eddie Delic's confidence. You can see the welts now starting to appear on Nick Krekellis' right lat area and rib area. So certainly Eddie's been doing something right, because he certainly left a couple of marks there on Krekellis.
Well, there might have been an accidental. Was it a head clash there, Mark?
Well, it certainly looked like it. And Krekellis is hurt as Delic gets into the neutral corner. Very unfortunate there. Bit of a knock to the top of the head.
Well, this will be an unfortunate blow to Krekellis if it ends his comeback this way. And we'll go across to the replay and have a look and see if we can spot it here, Mark.
You see the boys working in.
There it is.
Well, Krekellis really led in there and plunged himself forward with the top of his head. And he was warned earlier, or they were both warned earlier by the ref to watch the head clashes. But of course, with two boxing stylists, they tend to get in a lot closer and try and work the body rips, and that's what happens on the way in. You know, you can get caught with the head clash, and you know, it just needs something to hit you in the right spot. It'll certainly rattle you. But Krekellis not looking too good at this stage. And his trainer Paul Fifield will now, with the doctor, evaluate the damage and just see if he's going to be okay to continue.
Krekellis looked a little bit groggy when he got up. Seems to be saying to the ringside physician, Dr. Peter Lewis, that he's okay to continue.
I'm sorry, fight's over.
And I think, folks, that this one could be called to an end.
Sorry. What are you talking about?
Well, Krekellis, a disenchanted look on his face, and Peter Lewis now speaking to the centre referee.
We have a look here at what transpired. You see Krekellis on the way in, hooking left and right, and then diving in with his head. Really not seeing where Delic was. I suppose he was expecting to clear the side of Delic's body and then go for the body. But unfortunately, Delic moved to the same direction, and it was an accidental head clash, one of those things that does happen in the fight game, and it will now go down to the judges.
Okay, it's decision time, folks. Let's go across to Howard.
Stop midway through round 3, but by majority points. To that point of time, the winner is blue corner, Eddie Delic. Ready, steady, Eddie.